Hello, friends, and welcome back. Once again, we are diving into some hardcore Minecraft. This is Hambbage, and I'm glad to have you with me. Um, for me, this is it was a real quick break. I just took enough time to get up, stretch the legs, hydrate a little bit, and get ready for another little session of adventure in Alcano. So that's what we're gonna do. Um, Hope you're enjoying it. I hope we can make this last a little bit longer. We are on the brink of sleeping. That was, that was what we were set to do. Um, was get a good nap because everything starts with good sleep. Now we've had talked, and once again, spiders up in those trees. We're just gonna have to like rain torches around up there or something. I don't know, but the noise alone is enough to make us need a better solution. Now, I don't know how's everybody in the comments feel about spiders. I think personally everybody falls into one of a couple categories, and at least in my very unscientific and informal life experience, I think they're kind of exclusive groups, and I want to say there's a third, but I know for certain that amongst my own friends and kind of out there in the world, you can identify with a group of a large part of the population based on being absolutely gut churning, irrationally weak in the knees, afraid of either spiders or snakes. Let me know if it's something else for you, and you're one of those people that, I'm down with both of those. Totally, love them. I have pets in my house. For me, it's snakes, hands down. I don't even care. Spiders, they can bounce all over me. Bees may be another one. I know a lot of people that just, you see a bee, you start that. It's a bee. It's a bee. It's a bee. You guys see the bee? There's a bee on you. Can you get the bee off me? It's gonna get me. I don't want to get stung, and the bee will get me. And certainly, just like with snakes and spiders, you can be allergic to bees, and they can have a big negative reaction with some types of snakes and spiders. It can be as much as bees. I don't want to make light of a bee allergy. Those can be fatal too. But certainly with a venomous snake or spider or scorpion, there are other types of animals that have venom. So it's not exclusive. But it seems to me at least, it will be one or the other, and you can't do anything about it. I certainly understand that for me it's snakes. And as I've said in a number of the videos, I see a snake out on the trail or something like that, I have an initial mortified, and this is, I'm not trying to be sexist or anything like that, but I have that little girl scream reaction to seeing a snake, and I may hopefully not vocalize it too often, but yeah, it's heart pounding, in a second you're drenched in a cold, clammy sweat that came out of nowhere. That kind of reaction that's just visceral, right? You're not in control of how your body is reacting to the thing that's happening in front of you. And when that's, for me, when that's a snake, man, it's on, and I just, I hope for the best, and expect the worst, kind of, and go. And here in Colorado, we do have western diamondback rattlesnakes. And they certainly, if you're bitten and if you are left untreated, even if you're treated, it's a horribly painful type thing to have to deal with. Even if you're getting antivenom, not something you just want to put yourself in a position where you're going to have to endure. But it's just something that's around out here, and that can vary in a lot of different places. And they are filling a niche in nature. They're doing their own thing. As a person who has loved nature all my life and done my best to learn about things out in them that I see, I fully get. They're going about their life, and they're actually doing us a lot of favors by being snakes and predating upon a lot of rodents and things that may otherwise potentially carry fleas and insects that may spread disease. So they help to keep all population in balance, which is awesome. And they're, in their own way, certainly beautiful. It just happens to be a way that makes my stomach start to do flips when I see them. And it doesn't. I think that's kind of what I was talking about with the categories, right? It doesn't matter if it's in a movie, if it's in real life. If it's in real life, it's especially if it's me alone out on a hike or something, and it's in real life. Oh man, there is nothing more unsettling for me. And it can be a bull snake, totally harmless, right? They're not venomous. They don't even really, I suppose, and I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure, a bull snake could bite you. It just wouldn't, you wouldn't have a venomous injection as a result, as opposed to some other things. But spiders do that too. They can certainly bite and inflict a venom of sorts into you. And some spiders out in the world can be very deadly. Scorpions can be incredibly dangerous too. And we here in Colorado have brown recluse and black widow spiders, and both of those can potentially be life-threatening. I don't know numbers. I don't know how often that comes to pass in the ages of modern medicine. And help is usually just a cell phone away. I don't think it's the same as back in the day, but you certainly in my home area here, you don't just go grabbing, if there's a bunch of dead limbs laying on the ground, either around your house at home doing yard work, or if you were out camping and going to build a fire or something like that, and you see a bunch of pile of sticks, unless you're incredibly confident in your luck or foolhardy, you don't just go stick your hand into that to pick those up, because that makes habitat not only for snakes but for spiders and all kinds of other things that, if surprised, can react as nature has kind of refined for them to bite and drop some venom on you, and that can be the beginning of a real unpleasant day. So I'm not beginning to imply that snakes are inherently more dangerous than other animals, or that they don't have a perfectly well-defined role in nature, and that beyond that they can't. I know people absolutely adore snakes and keep them in their home and bring them out and enjoy having it makes me, seriously, I got the chills just saying it. Enjoy having contact with them. It just it's so awful, but people do the same thing with spiders. People have fish, and it's not like fish are particularly warm or affectionate or anything like that, but they make great pets. And I've had some fish more when I was a little kid, and it usually went about as well as some of our earlier worlds. I was not a great steward for the fish populations that I maintained at home. But anyway, sidetrack from the sidetrack. The noise of the spiders, I get it. I've seen, in some playthroughs that I've watched, there's, it's even alluded to, hey, sorry about the spiders and things like that. I know that really bothers people. For me, the sound is annoying, but it's not, when I deal with spiders, it's not the cringe, oh my god, the sound of spiders, it's giving me chills and all that. Nah, for me, they're spiders, and it's loud and annoying, and particularly while we're recording and having a one-sided conversation here, I prefer to not have them making all that noise racket. So we'll see. I think for now, let's just do. I don't know if I'm even going to really want to go with this. If I do, will it... I don't think it'll be any better or worse. So we can make that kind of just a one-off as we begin. We've got 3 random cobble slabs, but, well. Okay, so for this Minecraft, oh man, that was, well, we'll leave this guy here as a reminder. He's already filled in, and he's the different color. So again, why I like to 3 wide stairs when I go. That can let's go ahead and do some of this to kind of keep showing what we're working towards here as we go, and keep it, since it's been a long time coming for me too. It will probably help and make sure that we don't have to backtrack too much as we go. So this is my single room footprint descent into the mines, and we'll see how far it goes. It's another that I kind of feel has generally exceeded my taste for it, if that is a delicate enough way of putting it. Saying that I kind of find the straight staircase a little less aggravating, but it's cool. It's certainly, I think, when all is said and done, it is more visually impressive. I really like the look of it. So we'll go ahead and do one. You will quickly find that the reason why it's moved away from it is because it takes a lot, not a lot, but more time to immediately get down. You kind of are evolving the shape and style as you go. But maybe we can modify this. We we've been playing this game a long time, and I'd like to think I've learned a thing or two as we've gone along, or I've gone along. Speaking in the plural, including you guys. I hope you feel welcome and included here. That's certainly my intent. So let's carry some slabs along with our steps and our blocks. Now, the general footprint, and I'll just kind of finish out this landing and how I've gone in the past before we go much deeper. So we're going to have this same 7x7 area that we've had in all our rooms, and works out pretty well long term. I probably filled that in, and I think I talked about it at the time. Oh no, that's our floor. We want to we can take that. Sorry, you gotta bear with me here as I get bearings a little bit. As I said, it's been a minute since I've done this particular arrangement before. So, knowing that we're 2 and then 5, we can just kind of carve this area out. I'm glad I didn't make it more difficult on myself by filling these in. Now we'll reset these torches eventually. We are going to have 2 here on this end, and you'll pretty quickly see the shape that we're affecting. I just think it makes a visually impressive staircase. But as I said in my preference for the straightforward is this is going to require some steering as we go up and down. Not such a bad thing when we're all having a conversation here, and while I'm recording, I'm not doing other things. I'm just here to make some content, and hope you enjoy it. So this is pretty agreeable, but it does this is a pretty good circumstance for doing that kind of thing. But as we do, it also takes up a little more time. So I like to just double these stairs back as we go to kind of keep the look clean and nice. You can leave the blocks as is. In some, I've used wood and the cobble alternating to mix it up a little bit. But here, I think we want. And now, so what I've historically done is I would then flip here, leave each of these sides, that top side and this side, leave them at 2 wide, and then start the next one down. And you're continually taking out the whole floor below as you go, because there's ultimately, we're going to have 2 styles of stairs and alternate them back and forth, and they'll all become cobble. And that, while it's cobble, it's not exactly what I would call brilliant. It at least it's uniform in this case. So here we can drop in our last 3 stairs on this side. Now in the past, I would have just put these as full blocks and considered it good, but I think what we can maybe do is gain at least 1 more level down as we go by slabbing here and then switching back to the stairs as we go further down. But this is what I was then mentioning with the torches, just like in our staircases down, as you continue to carve lower and lower, they're going to float a little bit that's not a torch. They're going to float a little bit above where you get the most benefit, right? We don't care particularly that the heights above us are lit. We want the floor where mobs could potentially spawn to be lit up. So I think this may be the slight refinement we need. Our stairs will come up, then we'll just continue on through, and we'll listen to some zombies cook. So what do you guys think? I think it's a little early. I think it will become pretty obvious here, and we can complete this next section before we really do a whole lot more. Let's get an exit stair out, just so we're not working where we're trapping ourselves. We will be a little more exposed to Endermen, obviously, but not so much. The stairs, I don't know that anything can actually spawn on stairs specifically. That's not. It's like half slabs. You're basically insulating against having that kind of a mob creation by not having a level surface for them to come on. If it's irregular, they can't, and half slabs and stairs are irregular. So good on preventing those from getting ugly. It's the torch placement that, even though they're artificially elevated when we first put them in, as we're continuing to work, and especially with our stone tools here, we'll never want torches that high, but until we've dropped the whole area down to the point we can just kind of periodically lower an additional torch and keep them going. Now this is almost an oversight. You don't want to ever get so low that you can't reach back to the blocks that you've placed. Let's get another stone axe in here. And sadly, in case you haven't been paying attention, we haven't gotten us. Why? Get me out. You can't, or we haven't gotten any iron or coal or anything else good down here. So we're a little bit at the mercy, but effectively we're going to cut or bore a hole straight down into the lower levels, and caves and things like that we may have to deal with and build around and through. But yeah, this is kind of how you get a full look, and by the time we've reached those lower levels, we will have fully cut down this whole path and replaced with stairs, and it will be beautiful and glorious, and I hope you enjoy it. And then we'll just have an increasingly long loop of that each level you will keep these same patterns. So when we get down here, we'll go down the middle again, and then two sides. You can always pick and alternate which direction you want to go around the loop. Fun little game. We can continually decide which way is our preference for that particular run. I find I talked about the tight spiral where you're in a 4x4 and you can make a staircase, a block case. Stairs don't work real well in that situation, but you can, tightly go all the way down and then all the way back up again. I find just the reality of mousing in one direction over and over, you kind of run out of real estate, and it's kind of nice to unwind. It's like being a little kid and spinning yourself until you get dizzy, right? you eventually have to unspin going the opposite way just to balance everything back out again. So by having the two on the sides and then the one, you can kind of alternate even as you're going up and down a number of levels, so that you're not always just turning in one direction and kind of, you can't see it, but as I'm as I'm turning around chasing these blocks, my hand is moving the mouse slowly to one side, and either you have to stop and pick that back up or whatever. This does at least give you the freedom to just not stop running, and you can kind of keep working that all the way around. Now I think we're going to take these down one more level. We're going to definitely want these down lower. I don't know. What do you think? Should we maybe? I think that looks better than just going level with these. Nope, that's not right. Let's do that. That looks good. So we'll have torches kind of coming up and down our stairs. We'll go down here. We're going to want some half slabs. Ooh, now here. What are we gonna do? Here we're okay because we're doing that, right? And then it would be the middle that would be half slabbed on this one. In case you can't tell, I'm just figuring this piece out as we go. So in the interest of continuing to get that extra level on the turn, we would follow these up here. Now we can, we're still not having to jump at all. We would turn, and I think that will work out pretty well underneath. Let's finish this though, and then I think we'll take a quick stair break. This is going to be a kind of ongoing dig project. So if the presence of stone tools didn't make it clear enough to start, we'll want to break that into pieces. But what do you guys think of that? Does that seem like a pretty decent way to get down to the lower levels? We've eaten through some of our cobble stair already, which is good enough. We'll unload what we do have here. That should give us enough to build more tools. We'll just stockpile our granite and our diorite. And why don't we're not doing any of the finishing work up here at the moment. Let's quick turn our tools. And I'm going to go see what our wood is up to, how we're doing on growing trees. If we have time, going for a little wander in search of flowers wouldn't be a horrible idea, to start getting those scattered amongst the trees in case we can pop for a bee tree. We'll need a little more of a layout for those, because the worst thing, and it's certainly something you can deal with if you get another bee nest with some bees in it, is ending up with a bunch of scattered trees and bees in places you didn't exactly anticipate having them. This makes it a little bit tougher. You're looking out to see, I think we're late enough in our day, but look at all their trees out here. Excuse me. That was something. We'll use this time to climb our hill, and let's make these trees that we've kind of decided are worthy of sticking around, let's light them up, make them visible from a distance, kind of highlight our hilltop here, and have the very nice added bonus of minimizing the amount of spiders that spawn up here. So we'll knock you down. You can despawn. I don't think any of those touch. It's just a lower tree anyway, and it didn't look super gorgeous when those leaves go so far down. I think that makes them a little... I'm not opposed at the moment to the idea of having a group of trees, though. It looks kind of cool, and I think we'll keep at least one of these two. So we'll go and light that one. Let's throw just a couple random torches in here and see if... let's pretend at least like we're going to keep you. You may need to go, just because you kind of hang out over this ledge. I don't know. What do you guys think? Aggressive tree trimming or as is? Well, yeah. Yeah, I like that. Here, let's do just a bit of shearing and moving back. I kind of think of that like when from the books of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I believe it's either in the beginning of the Return of the King or the end of the Two Towers. The Battle of Helm's Deep, which was certainly a highlight of the movies, but that battle has just been completed. Everybody's kind of regaining their focus, and oh my God, we're the ones that are still alive. That was kind of touch and go. It wasn't looking like that for a minute. That kind of reaction, and in the course, Gimli goes and looks at the caves where the women and children, I think for a large part in Tolkien's work that, they were the civilian population, right? All the men of age and even the boys, as the movie highlights, old men and boys got, they didn't have a choice. If you can manage it, you need to fight and help us, try to survive the night. Well, the people that couldn't, and the women that were going to care for the very young and the very old, and those groups all went into the caves to seek refuge. And in the course of the battle, Gimli gets separated from his companions and gets forced deep into those caves as well. As I read it, and it's been a while, I'm not right on top of the text, but as I recall, he kind of, with some other lesser characters, fights a rear guard action into those caves, and they have a lot of honor. They're largely successful in that, and pull a lot of heat away from the gate. But as they're doing so, Gimli gets a look at these caverns, and his reaction is one of just unbelievable delight that, in the midst of all of this horrible battle, which he may not have, I don't think he was one that particularly thought of war as a horror or anything like that. He was like, yeah, let's go earn some glory kind of deal. But he found these caverns, and they were absolutely studded with jewels and things in the walls, crystals or jewels or whatever were sparkling, whatever would catch a dwarf's eye. And he said that the naturally created caverns and chambers within these caves were more beautiful than anything he'd seen. And this is a guy who's since crossed through Moria and had grown up in caves. the recent kingdom under the Lonely Mountain and the events of the Hobbit had already happened. So he's a dwarf. He's used to underground and has always been raised to consider that dwarven realms under the earth are some of the most beautiful. And he comes out and says, "Hey, oh my gosh, why am I Legolas? Hey, Legolas, we've got I gotta take you to see this. I know we got stuff going on right now, but promise me, if we live through everything that's about to unfold, you're gonna come back with me to see this." And Legolas and Elf says, I don't know, man. We already went through Moria. It was horrible. Why on earth would we want to go voluntarily back in? I think let's. I came from a forest. Let's. You and I go check out and see these Ents that people are talking about recently instead. And they back and forth, but eventually neither. It's not covered in Tolkien's work, but the understanding is that after the events of the trilogy, dwarf and elf, who have, despite all cultural background, become very fast friends, do join one another and both go to see the place that the other most desires to go explore, and would naturally not be a place where they were very comfortable, but they do so together, and I, the understanding, you're left to say, yeah, that worked out pretty well. They enjoyed it. So much like the snakes and spiders from earlier, you do find that you're willing to endure stuff for for friendship, or for a deeper level, love of a fellow man, or family, things like that. When you're a parent and your kids, really want to watch Barney the dinosaur, and you think, if I have to watch Barney sing one more time about hugs and all that kind of stuff, I'm gonna absolutely break this TV. But they're your kids, and you let it play, and you let that song rattle around in your head all day long, because it's what we as humans do. But it's all about, choice and priorities. But I did want to kind of get back to the snakes and spiders. Personally, whenever I, having, shared that snakes make, literally my skin feel like it's crawling, and I am full of the heebie-jeebies when I see them, I force myself, if I do see one out in the wild, to, even if I've stumbled back and away from it just in shock, which I usually, if I see, oh, hey, all right, get away, in case they're in striking distance, or are they teaming up? Are there other snakes that are circling around behind me? That kind of just cold fear reaction. Okay, am I good? Am I safe? Am I secure? Once I've done all that, then I absolutely try to make myself take a deep breath and observe them for, as long as they're willing to either hang around. I keep my distance. I certainly don't want to threaten them or disturb them anymore. They're usually as startled as I am, and that's what, in what have been my worst snake encounters, those are what get my heart the most pounding. Is they will make a noise to indicate that they're there. They don't want you to step on them, is their main concern. And regardless of species, they will usually make some kind of a hiss type sound. Obviously, the iconic response of a rattler shaking its rattles. That is a evolved function that is to prevent them from ever having to get in a situation where they may bite you. It's not like a be, where if they sting you, that's it. They've ultimately, performed a kamikaze type action to defend the hive. With a snake, bite is not fatal, but I would imagine that bite is something that gets a bad reaction from anything big enough to cause you harm by stepping on you in the first place. If and no herpetologist, I believe, is snake. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'm not one. That would be awful. We're in some Orwellian society where they just decide your job for you, and oh, congratulations, Hambbage. The tests came back, or the lottery was called, and you are now a herpetologist. Have fun spending the rest of your life studying snakes. I almost guarantee it would be about a week. I wouldn't even earn any vacation time. And I would have, as you guys have seen in Minecraft play, I would have done something stupid and a snake would have bit me, and that would be the end. Bummer. Now you gotta go lottery draft another herpetologist. Try not to get one of the people that are mortified by them. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. When I do see a snake out in the world, I definitely try to confront my fear. And, it's one of those things I know intellectually, rationally, that they don't want to do anything to me. They're not hunting me. I'm way too big for a snake to swallow and get any food out of, so it's purely defensive. And the main thing, you just have to be sure you don't step on them. And whether that's walking with a stick or, just being extra vigilant about keeping your eyes down and looking, it can certainly avoid such unpleasantries as snakes go on, or snakes biting, going. They're welcome to go. I've known. I think it's funny how when you have such visceral reactions to a certain thing, you can kind of think back to the whatever happened to first make that happen. And I remember being a lower grade school age kid and riding the bus, going over play date type thing, I guess you'd call it now. But I was just gonna stay at a friend's house, and we were messing around outside in his yard, and like all, most boys, I won't say all, I know not everybody's into any of this kind of stuff, but I was certainly the prone to spending whatever days I could outside getting dirty, finding insects and salamanders and all that kind of stuff. Again, snakes are the one. Frogs, fish, anything like that, happily pick them up and explore them and all that kind of stuff. But the snakes don't work. And I think, I stopped off at this friend's house. We were spending the afternoon together, whatever, after school, and he tracked down a garter snake. And for whatever reason, at that point, I hadn't really seen a whole lot of them when I was a little kid. Whatever the lay of my house's backyard didn't particularly make itself appealing to garter snakes, I guess. His did, or whatever the odds were, he caught a garter snake. And I don't think either of us really knew much about them. I certainly didn't know anything. He probably didn't either, but okay, let's grab the snake. And it was, not a huge garter snake, but maybe a 1.5 feet, 2 feet long. And I don't know if he intentionally or what, but he'd been holding it right, behind the head kind of deal. And I don't know if he was just dangling it or what, but he let it kind of run through his fingers. I can still see it to this day. And he let it run all the way down till he was holding it by its tail. And I watched as this thing just turned back up its body, and they can do that. They're snakes. They're muscle and a flexing skeleton, so they can very easily do this. He just turned and didn't even need to, but basically like climbed up back up the length of his body and bit my friend on his arm up above where he was holding it, and it was a garter snake. It wasn't the end of the world. He probably rubbed some dirt on it. If it had happened to me and I had gotten through that bite myself and realized how little of a deal it was, and maybe this all would have changed. But I saw, drips of blood running down his arm. He kind of, screamed. The snake flew off, he dropped it and it scurried off or slithered and was gone. But man, oh man, oh man, that, whether I was already predisposed to the anti-snake side of things or not, that experience locked it in. It was done deal. Snakes move in that what to us is an incomprehensible way, and it's very repetitive, and it's kind of beautiful. You see like a sidewinder or something moving across sand. That's very beautiful, but it just deep inside down to my toes, it gets a reaction, and that story was kind of a bad one. Not horrible, but it definitely left a negative imprint on me. I had another one, and this was maybe my second year in college. I was in a big lecture type class, and you go in and sit in an auditorium, and there's loads of people coming into it. And I was, I think I was single. If I wasn't, it was out-of-state girlfriend, and we were not destined to be together too long, but I had a healthy interest in making friends of the opposite sex, even if nothing was going to happen. And this a very attractive girl sits down next to me, or with one seat between us, in a large auditorium, which was pretty. It would have been weird if it was just, hey, I'm going to sit right next to you, but she sat down one seat away. And hey, I'm feeling pretty good. This is awesome. Kind of say hi before as the class gets going, and it's it was that was all you could do. You say hi, and the teacher starts talking. That's all the time. You get out your notebooks or whatever and start taking notes, paying attention. Well, I do that. Start listening, and the next thing I know, I look over, and this girl that sat down next to me pulls a snake out of her backpack in our lecture, and she full on drapes it around her own shoulders, and it's her pet, right? But dude, I am seriously in a lecture, supposed to be paying attention. It's college. I'm fully aware of the how much you pay to even be there, much less get good results and all that kind of stuff, and I'm supposed to be focused on this lecture. And now I got a snake literally one lecture auditorium chair width away from me, and it's chilling, and she's paying attention to the lecture because she's just used, apparently, to having the snake wrapped around her neck and kind of, in and out of her hair. Oh my, I cannot express how even now, years and years later, this is mid-90s, mid to late 90s, somewhere in there. Again, I'm not sure exactly what year it was that I was in that class, but yeah, she's sitting there, and this snake, it's got its little tongue. It was a light creamy colored snake, not like you see in the movies, or the back in the day, they draped the boa constrictor type things around their necks, and they would be heavy and bulky. This was a small snake. It was certainly not that that full, huge, girthy thing, I think probably one, that would have gotten a lot more notice of the people in the lecture, and she probably at some point would be told, either by a teacher or anybody else that's a responsible adult, stop bringing snakes into classes. That's horrible. And this is way before the time of comfort animals, anything like that, which I don't care. You may have a snake and decide that that should be your comfort animal, but understand as you do, you have a whole lot more people that are going to be made a whole lot more anxious and paranoid because you've got it with you. So do us all a favor. Don't bring snakes. Don't bring spiders. If your comfort animal is a skunk, don't bring it to class or anywhere else with you where people are stuck sitting next to you when you do that. Just crazy. As you can see, I'm walking back and forth dealing with the snakiness, but I wanted to share that with you. It was wild, and I did find, as I sat there and made it through this class, because I guess I potentially could have just gotten up and moved. But, what are you going to do? You're a macho, somewhere around 20, probably, in college, but not at the point of graduating yet, and somewhere in the middle of that. So, yeah, you're not going to, I'm the guy that's scared of snakes, I'm going to move away to the other side of the room, blah, and cause a big scene. No, you just, I just kind of very focused so that it couldn't do anything and surprise me. I tried to multitask and pay attention to the class as I was also making sure that it didn't try to do anything to me. And a couple times, it knew it could. They always say animals can smell fear. Well, I don't know if snakes can. I think they taste the air with their tongues. Actually, I think, but whatever it was doing, it would kind of reach its head out from her shoulder every once in a while and look at me funny and then stick its tongue out. Oh my goodness, it was a long deal, but I survived it, and it was that experience that kind of helped me in the future. And at that point, one of the things that I was really excited about with college was the opportunity to not just be where I'd grown up. I greatly can't express how much I love my parents and my family, and more so probably than at 18. I wanted my space. I wanted to get out there and kind of be on my own a little bit. Out from under their shadow, and a chance to test the waters of adulthood, and what is my life going to look like going forward. But I certainly wasn't trying to be distant, and had been really grateful for all the raising, how much care they took on myself and my sister when we were growing up. They you couldn't ask for more, and I hope most people have that outlook. You may not feel it when you're growing up, but one of the real highlights of my my growing older has been coming to grips that when you can have an adult to adult relationship with your parents, it's really cool, and they'll never stop being your mom and dad, and some of that kind of stuff that you feel as a kid, they're always judging me. They have these expectations and things like that. Well, that's never going to go away. Just deal with it, because you're their kids. They saw you when you were born, and they waited for 9 months, unless your parents are adoptive, in which case they did an even cooler thing, because they gave you a blessing of affection and love, and the opportunity for everything that comes with that by choice, and not knowing you, and not, I know a lot of parents decide that they want to have a family and they try very hard to have children. Others, it happens by accident and becomes wonderful. But I think it's, even while you're growing up and you're going, oh man, my folks are expecting me to do well in school, and it's so much extra stress. I wish they would just say that it doesn't matter, and they want what's best for you, and they have, even as they wondered and waited for you to be born. Would you be healthy when you were born and all that? It's incredibly stressful to go through that, and then to see, look, this wonderful person with, they watch you all your life, and of course they have expectations, and of course they're going to love you regardless of whether you meet them. But it comes back again to some of that experience that we've talked to in other contexts. They definitely may know that while you're gonna feel like it's awful to, let's say, miss, making this, you're going to miss a birthday party because they know you have a paper due and you didn't work on it for 2 weeks leading up to it, and it's a big part of your grade for English class, whatever class you're doing it for, and whatever the project may be. If they know that they've given you previous opportunities and you kind of reached the end of the line, right? It's now make or break time. You got to get this done. It feels like they're punishing you by saying, no, your choices have now forced you into this course of action. You've got to do this tonight. There's no more time. And we're not going to let you ignore something that has lasting impact on your life just because something that will be fun to do right now happens to conflict with it. And, it sucks part of growing up is learning not to get in those situations where you've not allowed that opportunity to do both. But, you get through that. And again, that's part of getting out on your own too. You'd have to now perform that without a watchful eye, without those reminders. And almost as universally as anything else, I think, everybody struggles with that at first. It's a skill. You have to learn how to manage it, but you can. And as how do we get from snakes to to this? I don't know. I think it was in the course of, I was around 20 and I didn't want to change chairs. I hunkered down through that fateful, fully, I don't remember at all the context. I remember the class that I was in, but I don't remember the context of that lecture, and probably didn't that day. But I remember it was the first time I'd really been in contact and forced to deal with the animal that I naturally recoil from. And it was fine. It wasn't doing me any harm. I wasn't doing it any harm. We both chilled out, and I think back, and a part of me goes, what was wrong with that girl who I never spoke to again? And probably if I ever saw her in that classroom again, I tried to go to the other side just in case. But I don't know. There was I don't know if most schools do this or not. Our school had an intro to psychology or something. I never took the class, but it was, I think the whole class was called Deviance in Society. And it was, it was in that psychology track, but it was very popular among freshmen as hey, this is, here you go. And Boulder is a pretty liberal town, and that course basically had people doing a project which would be act outside the normal expectations of society, do something that will catch people off guard. Again, I wasn't in the class. I don't know exactly what it was, but you would see at a particular time of year, people would be doing these deviance projects, and they would, they're dressing out of character for whatever's going on, or doing this or doing that. And, it was you. I guess the lesson is, you don't want to just completely allow yourself to be shaped by the expectations of others, and find out what happens when you do that. Well, I've always wondered, was that what she was doing, was trying to gauge reactions of people in this classroom by bringing a snake into it, which is totally unexpected and borderline unacceptable conduct. I've always wondered, or was that just her pet and she brought it along and had before and nobody'd ever said anything or bothered to? I don't know. But for me, it was a little transformative in, hey, confront these things and really embrace those chances when you do get to see them out in the wild, so that you can learn more about them. And that's why I love hiking or being out, or just taking a camera and going for a little walk, or trying to do that here around my house as much as I do in a park or in the mountains or anything like that. It's to see this world that we get a lifetime to enjoy, and see as much of it as I can. And snakes for me are certainly a part of that, and I try not to hold my fear against them and project that on them. I try to give them a wide berth and let them do their thing, and when I do see them, I nowadays, with a phone, I usually try to snap a picture or two. Anyway, that was the ramblings on snakes and spiders, and it all started with the sound of the spiders we had to kill. We successfully avoided getting killed by them, and I guess hear that zombie. I wonder where he's at. So we want to get those flowers that I've now left in the chest, I realize. We want to get those back and set up a grid for a few repeated trees. It doesn't have to be as wide-ranging as we currently are, but we do want to be able to strategically place flowers between, so that each tree that does grow up has a chance of becoming a bee tree. And again, bees. I've never done the bee beard thing. I don't think I particularly am looking for that opportunity. But, and this is weird that I have two trees just side by side like that. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, while I wouldn't want to particularly be covered in bees, if a bee lands on my arm or something like that, and I'm eating, I'll just chill. And bees I don't get that panicky reaction that I know a lot of people do, whether they're allergic or not. It's just, oh yeah, it's a bee. It could sting me, so therefore I'm gonna get very tense and clench up. And I've spent most of this episode telling people about my own reactions to snakes, which is exactly the same thing. So I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's not the best reaction, right? If animals are designed to sense that and think about your reactions, if it's bees or spiders or whatever else, when you have that confrontation or that circumstance where they're around you and they're, let's call it, inside your comfort bubble. They are too close, and you are feeling like it could turn into a bad situation. Well, your reactions generally are going to be to get a little shot of adrenaline based on fear, and your muscles will clench more tightly. Your heart rate will accelerate, so therefore your breathing. Either you hold your breath, or more likely your breathing becomes a bit more rapid. Eventually, it will be either way, because if you hold your breath, then you got to recover it eventually. Well, whatever the animal is, they're designed to sense those kind of things because they just happen to be predatory type reactions. You know, when you're a stealth hunter, you're going to try to mask all those kind of things if you're an animal. But ultimately, your muscles tense in preparation to strike. Your body gets that adrenaline shot of readiness. Again, preparing a burst of speed. Think of a cheetah or something like that, or preparing that lunging strike. Think the snakes that get that reaction out of me so readily. They tense all those muscles that make their bodies move so naturally, so that they can effectively shoot themselves forward and hit an unsuspecting rodent or something like that, and make them their meal. They're predators. That's what they do. I'm not hating them for filling a niche any more than I would hate a wolf for eating rodents, much in this, different hunting style, different techniques and adaptation, but they do this, the same thing. They're looking for the same kind of metabolic payoff. So let's check the time here. Through all this talking, I guess it's in part because did it again. We're doing a repetitive activity, and it's not. In case you can't tell, it doesn't. It's digging down the cobble staircase. There's a reason why it's not my favorite thing. It's not captivating me, and that's where you end up talking about snakes and spiders and all that good stuff. But we gotta persevere. We gotta get iron, and this coal will not be a bad thing, so we'll grab it. So yeah, feel free to leave a comment if there's an animal that particularly gets you, especially if it doesn't fall into one of those three. Are there people here, and I know that there are people out there in the world. I say all this stuff kind of half knowing that it's not a blanket statement. It's not 100% true, but there's definitely a commonality amongst people that either both, snakes and or spiders, scorpions, bees, something along those lines, all of those are prone to adding a little bit of discomfort to the bulk of people. And, it's not everybody, but it's most. And I'm wondering, are there people out there that have no real reaction to either of those two, but do have a real reaction to some other kind of animal, be it a bee or a scorpion, or I don't know what else. Sharks, fish. Sharks are a little tougher. You don't encounter them unless you're in the water, but are sharks your thing? That's certainly one that could be up there. But I don't, I'm wondering, are there 1, 2, or 3 that everybody has a couple that they react to, and just go from there. Just kind of grew out of the sound of those spiders. I've thought about it in the past. This isn't a whole new idea, but it's not like I'm doing research on it or anything. I'm just curious, what can we decide as random people thinking about it are the common animals that everybody reacts to. So particularly if you see this and you go, I have pet snakes and spiders. I think they're both awesome, but mice get me completely. I just, creepy crawly, something like that. caterpillars. Maybe those are the ones. I don't know. Millipedes. Um, Let me know. I think we've kind of covered that though now, right? This is. Did I get all these stairs before? The worst is finding that you now got a block, because you think about it, like you can be that far below the next block, and if you forget a step, yeah, pillar up. It's a pain. Or if you can focus on it, it definitely becomes pretty manageable in terms of time. You just, kind of keep plugging away, and already we're down to the top level of our side, which is good. Did we get torches? Yeah, we got torches on those, so we're somewhat ready on the side walls. We'll have to think long term about what we want to do for our walls around these. Mismatched natural stone and cobble filler blocks is not my idea of finished, but functionality first, right? So maybe we didn't go back far enough here, right? We need 2 back there. Something seemed a little off. And there go spiders again. Give it a rest, guys. So 5 across here. And then we'll just fill these out. We'll definitely want to put what steps we have. I think we still have some, either a partial stack or a full stack in our inventory. Finish this out. Get torches placed on this next sequence down, and then knock out the dirt that we have scattered around here. Will be another good chunk of progress getting down. One of the challenges here, of course, is that we're not at sea level, so we are going to have to, like with our Susanna Dean second world, we're going to have to go deeper in stairs, and that's okay. We'll deal with it, but just probably an extra turn or 2 of stairs as we're going down. Hi, Skelly, where are you? Now let's try. I think. Oh yeah, because we're always looking at. So we'll be at 2.5 on the low, 2 on the high. I'm just, in part just talking to myself as I figure this out. Oh, hey, I didn't even notice that we'd exposed cave area over there. Not showing my survival instincts very, very well for this world. Man, oh man. It sure is something to realize that you're good Lord, that was a huge stifled yawn. The game that you love playing and think you've gotten pretty well, as soon as you can look back at everything that you do and realize, hey man, all those times I got lucky and didn't even realize how close I was to dying or something that I just blew by and never saw. When you start to get those recordings down and they're there, and stuff that would have never registered because it didn't result in your death or near death. When you see it, you go, yeah, I was enjoying a lot of luck. That's nothing to sneeze at. All right, let's temporarily torch this. We need light. How are we doing on stair resources? Just what we've got, which isn't too bad. How likely is this to be trouble? Maybe we'll get some more iron. Again, we gotta remember that I have a little armor now, but not much. This is still, chit-chat aside, a very early world. Now I see some light. Is this going to connect into our caves that we already explored, or is that lava? Still scary, no matter what, but don't know. Would we like to try to find out? Maybe. I think what we want to do is gather and cook all this up, go back upstairs, regroup a little bit, and then come push forward. I kind of want to just go, but right now nothing can come back towards our stairs and our project. We're still safe, right? And I don't want to give that up just for a peek, but maybe we can do this. We can maybe see if we can keep this elevated and safe that way. And look around this corner. Yeah, there we go. Oh, oops. Now I'm just clowning. So this is, a help knowing that we'll at least be able to mitigate some of this kind of stuff indirectly. Now we'll check to make sure that these guys can't get up. Usually, when you have a elevated position like this and can start taking on the zombies, they'll bring some more. That's good. I don't mind getting a whole bunch of them. A whole bunch. But I'm a little more concerned that eventually we'll have a creeper show up as well. So we want to keep watching the distance there. We'll see how many keep coming. If, this is a pretty good horde, and certainly possible for that many to just spawn naturally. Now, that gets us that extra XP. But if they kind of keep coming like that, then maybe we have a hope that there's a spawner somewhere down there. That would be extra good. These look like some pants. We don't need pants. Extra good. Here's what we're gonna do. We've got coal we can grab. We're going to, as I said, go back upstairs. We've got some more iron. We can flesh out our armor a little bit more. I know we have at least enough for a single hat or a single pair of boots. So we'll do that, and we'll get another door and bring it down here and kind of further insulate our staircase from these caves. I think it might be tough to find that exact spot just from going back down the exterior cave access. But based on the amount of zombies that we had in there, It's, I think, worth cautiously exploring, and the door will let us do that. What I don't want is to go to the point of dropping down in here just to see what's going on and finding that all of a sudden we have a wave of zombies coming after us that are pushing their way into our stairs project and from there up into our base. So we'll make a little door, insulate, think airlock kind of situation. But 12 is, last time I checked, more than 9, and that's perfectly good stuff because that means we've got enough to make the rest of our armor. We've also got enough wood to make some more doors. I think that's furnace sound. It sounded like zombie footsteps, but I don't think it is. So, that away, those away. We got loads of torches now. We'll even have, we can make our boots. That was really just an excuse to make me double check and make sure that those were, in fact, the last 2 remaining pieces, and we hadn't already crafted them. Now we know and I'm kind of making a bit of a choice there in that I'm not. If I make the pick, I don't get a shield, and that's okay. Like I've said, we can scramble a little bit and try to dodge on the skeletons. We had a shield last time, and the creeper still got us. So it's. I think if you have the odd 3, let's get a pick. We're certainly not down to the level where we need it yet, but just for speed's sake and everything else, it's the more iron, the quicker you can turn and see more blocks and find more iron and keep going and going and going. And yeah, sometimes you have a chance it could backfire. You use up that whole iron pick and don't find any more. But I think usually, before I started these recordings, usually I will default within reason towards pushing for tools at high quality and working for that. It's I guess I want to say like a proven play style that can work and will work. So we'll use it. Now we've got our 8, and as we said, that's 1 iron pick and 1 hat. And don't fall under the illusion that we're all safe now. We basically just gotten back to where Hondo ended, so minus a shield, so we're not even that far. But hopefully with our more cautious tactics, and by that I mean just not doing absolutely ridiculously dumb stuff, we can get through. So you can see the pattern that we're kind of working there. We got a long way to go still. Let's move our choke point forward a little bit. So we'll just here. Guess it right here. I don't particularly like having the having to jump at a door. Like it pretty level, and I didn't want it too cramped. So now we've got a little moment. If you can see the zombie flesh from our last opponents is gone, so that despawned, which likewise kind of indicates that new mobs haven't yet had a chance to spawn. So we're refreshed a bit. Good. We filled all that. We know that there's caves down below us. We just filled in some holes, right? So we want to be extra cautious here. Same as with the obsidian and the lava. We, if possible, want to be close but not ready to fall in. But stop that iron from falling if it was. Excuse me. Go into some more coal. We'll leave all that. We're still vulnerable back this other way to folks like creepers. And now I am very concerned about the skelly zombie sounds, which, I hope are underground and kind of where we filled in a little bit more. He's trouble. Oh, did you? Oh, did you find yourself on the wrong side of a door? Oh, but you had a potato. We talked a little. See, I think this means that there's a spawner. We're just getting too many zombies here, not to have a source other than random spawns. But we've created kind of a nice little. They've got to climb to us, and it's a little bit of a choke point. So, it's sort of one of those things you can say, oh, we can do this all day right here. Now, I want that free. I'm still concerned about that. We got sounds of skeletons. I want to go find wherever these guys are coming from. Okay, so it's back around that corner. Again, we're just coming up here, so they have to go around this little edge to get to us, and that gives them a couple actions for us to beat them in the head with a sword before they can even hit us. So, real good situation to farm. And we got the potato already. We may get a carrot. But we now know the direction we need to head in to eventually deal with that. It's going to be back over behind us. There it is. Did you see it? I'm not going to just stand and stare at it. That's a little suicidal. Maybe they didn't come to us. It's... Hey, hello. Now, he'll do that silent zombie call that we've talked about, where he should bring over whoever else has spawned to this point. And, ow. I wanted to pull back because I thought he might be getting close. I don't want to get hit in the toes. And then I got hit in the toes. Good thing I have boots on now, huh? Hi, guys. Hey, come on up and play. As fun as this is, we don't have infinite food. I'm going to throw that there. Oh my gosh, what? That was just unfair. What is he doing in the middle of a zombie spawner? So now, this is another little timing game where he may get some shots in just because of, man, that was awful too. After I got in the one shot on him, I thought, okay, 2 more sword swings and we can get him. Look at how much of my iron sword I've already chewed through. Sheesh. really want to get that turned off. I'm really worried that if we try to do this, they will get too much opportunity to come around behind me. Real problems. But you can see the cobble there. So we know we're getting close. There. Boom. Come back, regroup, make sure everything's okay. Nothing has to be done in a rush until it has to be done in a rush. But we would always prefer to do these things on our terms. And we don't know how much that... Okay, good. You guys talk to each other. Come on over. I don't know how much that torch lights up right on the spawner, but hopefully it'll at least slow down. Oh, you jerk. Time to go. Come on. Okay, this is manageable. Forgot about those little guys coming right through that hole. I didn't really forget, but I was kind of willing to deal. So now we're gonna perform a bit of a flanking maneuver, I think, just to deal. Come on, next up. Who wants to be next? Come on. Come on, buddy. There you go. Okay, now what do we got? Whew! Not done yet, though. We got a lot of area around. We're incredibly low on food, but at least we stopped them from spawning, and that is going to be a massive, massive win. I mean, look, we're at 50 blocks high. This is now a zombie XP. Oh, and we got the carrot. Zombie XP factory ready to go. We just set it up. It's going to take some work to get it ready to go, but that will be massively helpful and give this world even more new character that we haven't had in our other ones yet. You know, we saw the one spawner in the abandoned mineshaft, but it was too low to do any kind of an actual farm with. With this one, we're kind of good to go. You know, and again, it's an inferior situation. It will help us, but we'll quickly look for better options. We don't just want to live with it, but it, you know, as we've already seen, carrots and potatoes just from having worked those zombies. Now what we hope is as we return, we can maybe get a few more iron to replace our sword, which we just melted down in repeated zombie heads. I'm gonna guess it takes quite a bit to completely erase an iron sword like that. Oop. Now we can very liberally sprinkle torches all over the place down here. We've got all this area that we need to kind of come to terms with. Because we're going to want to be able to work comfortably to develop or, finish that area and build the eventual zombie farm out of that spawner. So, good news is we got lots of more iron here. I hear that skeleton. Not gonna lie, little concerned, but I'm hoping we're up kind of close to ground level and he's maybe just on the surface. Honestly, I don't even know if it's night or day. The presence of that spawner is so great, and we haven't even bothered with. Always, in these situations, I'm way more concerned about security than I am what's in the chest. Whatever's in those chests isn't going away. So we'll get to it. I would certainly, not that we have pets or anything yet, but name tags are awesome. Maybe pretty decent melon chance. Not a horrible potential source for enchanted golden apples. So lots of stuff we would take out of there. Also diamonds. I don't know that you can get diamond tools. Don't think that would have been fatal, but almost just teetered over the edge. Food is going to become a little more important as we clean up and clear out some of this area. We have happily neglected it, but we do have string and sticks, and we can make a fishing pole. So slowly we can, at least have a food source that gets by. What we saw in the last world with the river just choked with salmon, I don't know that you can get that outside of a river. And I don't know if anybody has any interest. We were kind of talking about it in that world as we were harvesting, but if anybody knows what the mechanics are on those, if there's even a name for rivers that are just choked with salmon like that, it would make sense, right? In the real world, salmon run, and if you're at the right time of year around their breeding areas, and you happen to be in a river where they're returning to a breeding location, it's why Kodiak bears gather, and for a isolationist animal will all congregate in large groups to, famously, if anybody's unfamiliar with bears fishing for salmon, check it out. It's very cool. But, famously, people will travel to Alaska to watch the Kodiak bears gathering the salmon. Man, don't give up this world now that it's getting good because you're stupid. And I was almost stupid because I just decided to gather some iron without dropping a few torches. So now we're going to drop extra torches in an unrelated attempt to make it even safer than it needs to be. It's fun. It's funny to react to yourself and your own foibles as you're going around. So I knew that was opening up below. Obviously, one of our 2 chunks of iron dropped there, but we're, this is now pretty familiar corkscrew, and we got a few levels. It's all well lit. So before we head back upstairs, we'll circle back around, and fortunately we've now got loads of iron. Plenty to update our tools, get a new sword, hopefully be in real good shape. Obviously there's some other chambers around, right, where we got some sounds of flowing water. I'm wondering if, that may introduce those. So I'm not going to be super aggressive in probing. I am going to be super aggressive in torching here. What all do we get? Well, no enchanted golden apple. Bummer there. But we got some gold. Smite 5 as a book. Not the most amazing find. There's certainly other books I even at this point would value more. But having just gone through the villager outpost in the Susanna Dean world, I think we can just briefly talk through why that's good. I'm only ever gonna need 1 Smite 5 sword, ever. There's, you need it for hunting withers and all that kind of stuff, but you don't hunt withers until you. Oh, that was the water I was so worried about. You don't hunt withers until you've gotten well established, so we can hang on to that. And as you saw, there's times where I've questioned, should I take Smite 5 as a full purchasable enchant so that I have it and it's ready to go? No more dilemma there. We've already got the one that we'll need, so we don't even need to worry about seeing it or it popping up or whether to take a 4 or a 5. We'll just have it ready to go. We'll throw it in a chest and kind of forget about it for now. And then start revert back to it when we get to that point. 2 swords in, I want sharpness before I would ever want smite, but it's nice to have. Like I said, a mending book early would have been nicer. Efficiency 5. Smite 5 is probably better than efficiency 5 because one of them doesn't really go far enough. A Fortune 3 book would have been maybe the best. Fortune 3, I would, in a book, if I just found it, I would even throw that into an iron axe without anything else, and before I even had enchanting, I'd just make an anvil as soon as I had enough iron and throw it on, because getting the diamonds so quick, it is just like a speed boost to your whole development, your whole game. It really gets you into some of the fun stuff. And again, I hope my play style is reflecting that when I say that speed boost, I get excited. You can tell. I can tell. I know, but I hope it comes through. I think it would. I get excited about things that will help me accelerate and move through the game content. That's part of the appeal of the game of Minecraft. But I also hope you guys are seeing that I enjoy the process of getting there. Building the staircase that we're currently building doesn't in any means constitute the fastest means to get down on diamonds, or and neither does polished diorite and granite in your floors. But I do think it's balancing those two out help give this world a little more richness, and that's worth it to me, and I hope as an audience it's worth it to you guys to be able to see that. So enough blathering. Foods, we did well. We didn't get any melon seeds. think more common in abandoned mineshaft chests than it would. We did get a record cat, which is very common of the music discs. We will be able to make a player for that, and can then I'll play some cat just to go. I think the main one, the new pig step, which came out with the Nether update, does have copyright issues, so I won't be playing that one on stream. But once we get it, I'll certainly turn up the music volume enough so that you guys can enjoy the fact that we have it for a bit. And then I'm not going to run with audio playing for long term, but just enough to sample what it sounds like for you guys. Seems within the confines of fair use, I hope. So we'll all find out together. And again, for me, this isn't a matter of impacting livelihood or anything like that. What it certainly could do, though, is break the continuity of a world. And if this world or if any future world ends up lasting for a long time, and we get to the point where we're streaming and people are joining us and asking about how did this all begin, I'd love these recordings to kind of be a reference point and say, yeah, refer back to the YouTube channel. You can see just how we got those things going and go. But let's give it another pause here. I'm gonna lift my mic while I do and take a sip of old coffee. We are at about a quarter till 2 hours, and we've done so well. And wanting the snake versus spider debate to stand alone, let's go ahead and wrap this right here. And we'll take another break. I'll get the chance to move around a little quicker and have a little shorter one for you guys to enjoy on the website, and then we'll see you on the next one. And it's going to be probably a couple episodes before we can really switch that into a farm. We need to get down far enough below it to let them drop and manage all that. What we'll probably do, I think we were at level 50, and we're going to want to be down to level 11 anyway. So what I'll probably do is use that as a chance. We'll drop them all the way down to the level of my mine, or maybe just above where we can raise up. And no, why not? I'll just take them all the way down to floor level and make it there, make it all convenient and close. But when we do that, we can put, we can do water breaks and all that kind of stuff to show how we manage how far we want them to drop. But yeah, we got a lot more staircasing to do, so some progress to get to before we really start turning on the results of that spawner. But I'm really thrilled to have it. That's a great boon to our playthrough here. So for now, as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, but I hope between now and then you guys have a great days or evenings. And can't wait to see you back here for more of Hambbage Plays Hardcore Minecraft and the fourth of our world adventures. Maybe, odds are quick, evens are longer. Hopefully that trend continues, and maybe we can have a little extended success in this one. So thanks again. We'll see you next time. Bye now.